a noun, a verb, an adjective, right? So we all learn in elementary school, nouns. They can either be a what? A person, a place, or a thing. Christy, what's going on? I like the hair color, darling. So, let's focus on a place. TEDxCollierHeights, correct? Well, let's talk about Collier Heights, because what we don't talk about is that Collier Heights actually used to be an all-white neighborhood in 1948 when it was founded. What happened is that 7 courageous businessmen and their families had the audacity to combine their dollars and form the National Development Corporation and buy a 200-acre farm directly across the street from the neighborhood. Powerful. So now in 1948, when it was all white, in 1954, when those white folks started to realize, wait a minute, they're across the creek, as we started to pour in, y'all know what happened. Shoom, they started to pull out. Let's do it. So now we got to think about what it took for that family, because see, it got so bad with black folks moving to Southwest Atlanta. Anybody from the SWATs? You want to listen to this story, because what happened is we started to pour in record numbers, because once black folks around the country heard about this little tiny community in Southwest Atlanta where black people owned the land, using black banks, using black architects, using black contractors, using black builders, and even using black closing attorneys. You knew it was on. It got so bad and the mayor got so nervous that in 1962, and I wish I had the picture, Google it because you gotta see it. Google Atlanta-Berlin Wall. In 1962, the mayor actually ordered a wall to be built on Peyton Road to make sure black people were discouraged from living anywhere north of Peyton Road. The mayor in 62, do the math for y'all that were born in the 70s, it wasn't that long ago. Collier Heights became one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in the entire country, white or black. I remember, well, let me tell this first, white or black. But you had families that you know of, like the Kings, the Abernathy's, the Gays, the Hollowells, and the Russells. I remember being a 14-year-old kid who used to steal my mom's car and drive from the east side. Anybody from Decatur, holler at your boy. Who used to drive from the east side because off of Glenwood Road, I did not believe that black people could live in houses that looked like that. I saw it and I was inspired. That inspiration led to aspiration, and that aspiration from even back then still carries me to this day in my life. We've got to think about our communities and what they once were. Black, a noun, a verb, an adjective. A noun can be a person, a place, or a thing. We talked about the place. Let's talk about the person. Herman Jerome Russell Sr. Oh, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Herman Jerome Russell Sr. was a bad man. I don't know if y'all really realize how bad. Because at 24, he was one of those 7 families that bought that 200 acres to create the Collier Heights that we're celebrating today. 24. This is the brother who helped build, well, we won't even get to that part either, though. At 24, he helped build the 200 acres that became Collier Heights. However, after a few years, he decided that he wanted to build his own home. After he had built many of the beautiful homes in Collier Heights, at the age of 33, this 33-year-old millionaire took the lot that nobody else wanted, a sloping lot on 2 acres, and the brother built his dream home. In 63, the brother had a pool inside his house, a tennis court, and a full rec room in the back. Because what used to happen, guys, in Collier Heights, if you do the tour, all of the houses have rec rooms in the bottom. Why? Because back then, they wouldn't let us go to the clubs and the hotels and the bars downtown. So guess what, y'all? We did it ourselves in our own community, in our own homes, in our own way. That was Collier Heights. H.J. Russell. You got to think about the man that integrated the Chamber of Commerce on the city and the state level. If you are black doing business in the city of Atlanta, you got to give a shout out to H.J. Russell because he made it possible. This was the brother that also helped underwrite the civil rights movement. Those plane trips, those meals, those hotel stays, those bus rides were not free, so they needed black businessmen to underwrite what happened in the civil rights movement, and that story never gets told. The only real civil unrest that we had in Atlanta, although we are the home of civil rights, not a lot went down in this city. What happened? So it don't fall? Oh, y'all are cold. I didn't even see that. Not a lot went down in this city. The only real civil unrest we had was the student movement. Over 110 students got locked up. They made one phone call and one man bailed them all out. Herman Russell. Herman Russell, the businessman, that, think about this to put it in context, over 70 years ago, had the audacity to build a headquarter building that is a full city block wide. Lamonte, what's up? I like the hat, bro. It's a full city block wide and 50,000 square feet with his name on it. At a time where they were still lynching black men in Georgia for thinking too much of themselves. He built this headquarter building directly across the street on a hill to look over what is Morehouse College, Spelman College, at that time Clark College, Atlanta University, Morris Brown, and ITC. Because back then, I went to the University of Georgia, but then I could not have by law. We could not go to Georgia Tech. We could not go to Georgia State. We could not go to Emory. So he knew that those students that would matriculate from all over the country, seeking the best education you could get as a black person, needed every day as they matriculated to see the physical manifestation of what was possible for people that looked like them. That city on a hill. I remember when I used to steal my mom's car. I would drive around Atlanta. I would drive by H.J. Russell and Company. And if those of you that grew up and you remember H.J. Russell Company back then, it was manicured, it was perfect. It gave us pride in who we were. To know that this brother, whenever I look at black enterprise, I saw a company that I recognized, that I could drive by, and a man that if I stopped at Pascal's at any moment, I might be able to shake his hand. And he always would say hello, be kind, and make time for anybody that sought it. Herman J. Russell. It's a powerful legacy that now even me, and Zach, it's real. For me to be able to be a part of that legacy and carry it forward, taking that 54,000 square foot building and turning it into the largest center in the world, dedicated to growing, scaling, and developing black-owned business. Our building, we own it in our community, by our community, for our community. This becomes the place where black businesses have a safe space to fail and fly. Part of the problem is that we also think, or we've got this thing wrong, that all the smart people and the capable people live north. So much so that the only value-add proposition for wealth in our community is how fast and how far I can move away. Let's be real about it. I get promoted to executive vice president. I go from the West End to Buckhead. And that's supposed to be a badge of honor. But we'll get back to that. At the Russell Center, at 54,000 square feet, I know that we have the ability to change the game. It's the only reason I took this job when I did not need one, because there are very few times in life where you get to be a part of something you know will outlast you. And there are even rarer moments in life where you get to be a part of something that can potentially change the course of history. We lose GDP every year because the brilliant ideas that exist in black minds on the south sides of towns all over America never reach the marketplace because they don't believe they belong. How do we create a space? And I'm going to tell you, the only difference between Bankhead and Buckhead is access, opportunity, and exposure, and that is it. You want to talk about innovation? Show me somebody more innovative than a single mother with 2 kids making $17,000 a year. How does she make that happen every day? How does she keep a smile on her face? How she problem solves, how she thinks. And if you want to talk about ingenuity, show me a dope boy from the West Side that doesn't understand import, export, wholesale, retail, supply, demand, territory, customer retention. all with a gun to his head and no formal training. Black people, we are brilliant. Black people, we are beautiful. That is an adjective. But we also know that black is a verb. So it really comes down to, what are all of us going to do? The answer's simple to me. Just do something. Again, do something. I told you about the exposure and what that meant. We all become what we behold. We all become what we behold, so that something could be as simple as you finding the local elementary school and saying, "Hi, my name is Jay, this is what I do, and I care." And it could change the life of someone in that community. Do something. Find problems that you can do something about, and then simply do something. I've got a good friend, Dr. Gregory Ellison at Emory Divinity School. He tells this wonderful story about his auntie, and he walked up to his auntie, an old Southern auntie, rocking on her porch, snapping snap beans like we used to for Sunday dinner. And at the age of 8, he asked his auntie, "Auntie, what can I do to change the world?" His auntie, doing as wise aunties always do, took a minute. She rocked in her chair. She snapped a few more beans. She took a deep breath and looked him dead in his eye and said, "Baby, I don't know how to change the world, but I do know that you can change the 3 feet around you." It made me pause, guys, because many of you in the audience know that just 2 months ago, July 1st, we welcomed my beautiful baby daughter, Sage. I think she's out there listening, so y'all say, "Hey, Sage," to this world. And I am changed, y'all. My life is forever different. My place in this world has changed. But this is one thing that my good friend Greg Clay told me even months before she was born. He said, "Jay, we all know you're going to be a dope dad and you're going to give everything to this child. You will be a great father." He said, "But that's not what we need right now. We need you to focus on being a really dope, great-great-great-grandfather." And I froze because I didn't understand it when he said it. I said, "Say that again." He said, "I need you to focus on being a really dope, great-great-great-grandfather. What am I doing today that will impact 7 generations yet unborn? What am I doing right now that will impact the legacy of my lineage and those that I will never meet?" When we talk about Collier Heights, we are now standing in the shadow of those that dared to risk. They planted seeds that grew trees whose shade they never sat under. Plant seeds that will grow trees whose shade you may never sit under. And they did that, and we are all the beneficiaries of it, because guess what, guys? We have all the answers. We talk about what's going wrong in our community, and we forget that we've always had the answers. Guys, we've always had the script. We simply forgot our lines. And it's time to rehearse, and it better damn well be a dress rehearsal, because life is real and life is right now. And for black people in this country, it may be more dire than ever. So once the dress rehearsal is over, it's showtime. Our schools used to work because we supported our schools. Our businesses used to thrive because we supported our businesses. Our neighborhoods were clean because we cleaned up our own neighborhoods. A place of our own. Think of Collier Heights, and even our mayor. Is it any surprise that Keisha Lance Bottoms became one of the youngest magistrate judges in the history of our state, and later on became the mayor? Why? Because every single day of her life growing up in Collier Heights, she saw the embodiment of black excellence every single day. So she and we, because of the shoulders that we stand on, do not have the right to fail. We do not have the right to fail. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is right now. And my time on stage is stopped. But my time to actually do the work will always continue. I ask you to join us in this journey, because each of us has something that is inherently us. that can do the type of things that will change the world forever. Plant seeds that will grow trees whose shade you may never sit under. The African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Let's go farther together, y'all. God bless.